Thanks to changes in how TV shows tell stories in the time since it ended, now is the perfect time for a Fringe reboot. Originally airing from 2008 to 2013, Fringe was a high-concept science fiction series that blended FBI procedural storytelling with wild pseudoscience, alternate universes, and emotional character arcs. Created by J.J. Abrams, Alex Kurtzman, and Roberto Orci, the show followed Agent Olivia Dunham, Anna Torv, the brilliant but erratic scientist Walter Bishop, John Noble, and his son Peter, Joshua Jackson, as they unraveled bizarre and often terrifying phenomena. While Fringe eventually leaned into serialized storytelling, especially in later seasons, it began with a heavy reliance on the case of the week format, with episodes structured around a standalone investigation. This approach gave the show its accessible, X-Files-inspired flavor but also prevented it from immediately diving deep into its most compelling storylines. A Fringe TV show reboot would have the opportunity to fix that by embracing the modern, 10-hour movie structure that dominates prestige TV today. This would mean tighter storytelling, richer character arcs, and a more rewarding payoff for long-term viewers without losing the weird, wonderful, high-concept energy that made Fringe so beloved in the first place. Anna Torv as Olivia Dunham in Fringe. Related. Fringe Season 6, Why the Show Was Cancelled. Lasting 5 seasons, Fringe was a cult science fiction series from J.J. Abrams with a loyal fan base and impressive cast. So why didn't Season 6 happen? A Fringe reboot would probably have fewer Case of the Week episodes. A return could bring a shift in pacing. When Fringe first hit the airwaves, it leaned hard on the Case of the Week formula. Each rollercoaster Fringe episode followed the team as they investigated a bizarre scientific mystery. One week, someone spontaneously combusts, and the next, a baby ages into an old man in a matter of minutes, or a woman's consciousness is trapped in someone else's body. These unexplained phenomena of the week episodes were entertaining and often creepy in the best ways. They gave Fringe its identity as a spiritual cousin to the X-Files, grounding its stranger ideas in a procedural framework that made it more palatable to network audiences. However, as Fringe evolved, its real strengths began to emerge through its serialized arcs such as the parallel universe storyline, The Observers, and the complicated relationships between characters like Walter and Peter. The Case of the Week episodes, while still fun, often felt like filler in the middle of much more compelling larger narratives. They sometimes delayed character development or distracted from the deeper mysteries the show had painstakingly built up. In today's TV landscape, where serialized storytelling dominates, that structure feels increasingly dated. That a Fringe TV show reboot wouldn't need to abandon the weird science mysteries entirely. They are part of the DNA of the series, but it could use them more strategically. Instead of 20-plus episodes a season, a Fringe reboot could deliver a tight 8 to 10 episode run where each mystery directly ties into the overarching plot. This would allow for more nuanced character development, better pacing, and world-building that doesn't stop and start every episode. In short, fewer cases and more Fringe. Fringe would benefit a lot from today's television landscape. The amazing premise is ripe for a modern glow-up. Fringe, Season 5, Episode 9, The Fringe Team. The time is perfect for a reboot of Fringe because of the popularity of the 10-hour movie format of TV shows. Popularized by shows like Breaking Bad, Stranger Things, and The Mandalorian, serialized storytelling with each episode picking up exactly where the last left off has redefined what audiences expect from prestige television. Viewers now expect tighter seasons, greater narrative cohesion, and significant character progression from episode to episode. A Fringe TV show reboot could absolutely thrive under this model. Back in the 2000s, the network TV model demanded upwards of 22 episodes per season. That meant a lot of standalone episodes that didn't move the needle much in terms of overarching storylines. However, today's shows can afford to go deeper, faster. A rebooted Fringe wouldn't need to waste time reintroducing basic ideas over and over again. If Fringe were to come back in the 2020s, it could take bold swings and push its science fiction mythology front and center from the very beginning. Still, this doesn't mean the modern format is flawless. Some 10-hour movie shows suffer from bloated middles or feel like one long setup for a finale. But for a concept like Fringe, which already had rich lore and emotionally compelling characters, the format would likely be a massive upgrade. Imagine a season-long arc that builds like a mystery novel, with each episode deepening the story rather than distracting from it. A Fringe TV show reboot done in this style would feel more focused and immersive, offering both longtime fans and new audiences a satisfying deep dive into its bizarre and brilliant universe. I wouldn't want a Fringe reboot to be too different from the original show. Tweaking the recipe would be risky. Fringe, Season 1, Episode 13 The Transformation, Walter autopsies the monster's body. As tempting as it is to reimagine Fringe entirely in the vein of today's prestige TV, there's a risk in straying too far from what made the show so special in the first place. The original Fringe had a quirky, experimental energy. It was a rare show that wasn't afraid to take detours, explore wild, what-if scenarios, or deliver standalone episodes that could make you laugh, cry, or recoil in horror. A Fringe TV show reboot needs to retain that DNA. Some of the best episodes of Fringe, like White Tulip or Lysergic Acid Diethylamide, had only a loose connection to the overarching plot but still managed to explore character and theme in profound ways. The show's ability to oscillate between mind-bending sci-fi and deeply human storytelling is part of what made it stand out. If a Fringe reboot goes too hard on serialization, it could lose that sense of wonder and spontaneity. The key would be balance. A modern Fringe reboot should absolutely embrace serialized storytelling to tighten its plot and deepen its characters, but it shouldn't shy away from standalone weirdness either. The show's strength was always in how it fused the two. Let the reboot streamline the format, sure, but let it stay weird, heartfelt, and deeply curious. Because, at the end of the day, Fringe was never just about the science. It was about the people behind the science, and any reboot worth watching needs to remember that.